What's up, everybody? It's kind of like I don't really know how to start this kind of thing because it's like a very elaborate thing that I haven't really done. But for the most part, I'm probably just going to go over each song like individually, and then I'll show you like all the different files for it. Because most songs have like five or six like files going at the same time to make each song. And then I have a little folder in here where I'll just show you what gear that I use in real life, and then I will explain like what I actually use to record the album. I think I'm gonna do that first because it's fun. Um, also, Ryan is here. Ryan is my animator and best friend for a million years, and also my roommate. All right, so we're gonna go over gear. I have stupid Google images of all of them, but because I think I'm pretty like under the persuasion that like good gear actually changes what you make. And I spent like a long time of my life like slowly like developing a collection of gear that I think is pretty good for the album and just things in general. And I kind of use them religiously at this point. Like I don't like swap anything out. I don't go to studios or whatever. Um, oh shit, there's a lot of you in the chat. So for starters, I use a Newman TLO2 for all vocals. It's just the cleanest thing I could possibly use. I use it like without. I have like a sound isolation thing, like those the cheap ones you get at Guitar Center for like $30. And I just have that wrapped around the back. But basically, it's like the best microphone you could fucking buy. Like I recorded some of the takes for the album just like holding it in my hand in the room, no isolation or anything, and it was just perfectly fine. Um, so I have that, and then that runs into. I really like 500 series preamps because they're fancy and cool, and also like they're cheaper than like an actual like preamp you could buy. If you don't know what they are, they're like these little like uh, uh, they're basically just regular preamps, but you can slot them into interfaces like that, and you can collect them instead of having to buy like a whole fucking like preamp thing. So I use the Grace Design M501. I've used it forever. I use it for guitar with the high Z input, and I use it for vocals with the gain and everything. Yeah, it's just like collectibles. Um, so I those two together are just like incredible. The headroom is insane. Everything is clean. Everything is crisp. Um, that's why everything on the album is just like really crispy. And then obviously I put it into a bento, a Feddersen bento too, because it's the cheapest thing I could have found. And one of the things is just empty. I just like leave it empty. Um, and then for all the acoustic guitar, it's just a shitty Yamaha that's like $200. There's nothing special about it. I don't even know if this is the actual guitar I have. I just took a picture of a Yamaha acoustic guitar online. And then everything record. Oh yeah, and then I use a all the electric guitar is a like a Fender Telecaster, which is just I like how they sound. I think they're simple and easy, and especially when you go into the high Z of this, it just gets really clean. Everything is just like especially on the highest setting, like everything is just so crispy and becomes kind of like this strummed. Um, Nothing is muddy, and I just don't like mud in any of these mixes. And then everything just goes into a Scarlett 1820, which is kind of overkill for what I do. But I just got it a long time ago because I liked to make sure that like if I wanted to record like a band, I have like a million. Yeah, Scarlett for life. I'm very loyal to Focusrite. I before this I had like the Sapphire, which had like the stupid like FireWire interface because I used to use like a 2012 MacBook for like a really long time, which thankfully still had a FireWire port. But that's all of the gear. Like that's pretty much all I use for the entire album. Everything. Like I don't use any physical synths. I don't use any like and no fancy like vocal chain bullshit. Like I just that's all I use. Um, so I think it's important to have like your own little setup that's like very precise like that. That like is like a couple things, and that's why it sounds exactly like a Recode sound. It's just these specific pieces of gear. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the stupid ass um, file system because you're gonna. I don't know. I think I'd like to dispel the myth of there's any kind of organization going on within any of these projects because there's not. It's just a really stupid collection of files, and there's like 40 million things in here. So like if I go into the dist2 folder, it's like this all of these files that are named nonsense. And then I go into this folder called songs, and then inside this folder there's a whole collection of nonsense. And then inside this there is final files, and these are the actual files that the final album used. I don't really know how to explain like the process of like where it went. It was just kind of like a million songs, and then they slowly filtered down, and then they slowly filtered down again. But I'm going to open the intro file, which is the simplest of all the files. Also, I have a bunch of plugins that just don't work. And we'll go over everything one by one. I'm going to end that stream. I'm sorry for whoever's recording to have to go jump between a bunch of streams. It's just that's how fucking Logic works. Yep, Logic plugin error. There we go. This file is ridiculous. It's going to be really funny to stream it. So this is the intro track for the album. It looks really stupid. It's really fundamentally just a couple of things that kind of build up together. Let me make sure that you guys can hear everything that's going on. Can you guys hear the audio? Okay, cool. So I have right now, as you can see, there's just a million files of nothing. But it starts with a couple of effects from, I don't remember what the pack is called. It's the Glitch Machines sample pack. I don't remember which one. This was like a free sample pack that I found at one point. I don't remember what the deal was for it. But generally it's just, there's nothing on it other than a vocal transformer that is, it just makes it sound a little bit like more mushy. It's like pushing it down format, but it's also pushing it up in pitch. And then an auto filter that is, actually no, it's not using it on this one, but I think someone else use it. And both of these use it. It layers together to make this kind of ambient sound. Yes, you can see the Splatoon sound effects thing. You're seeing all my samples. It's basically that for most of it until this slowly fades out, and it's a couple of risers all happening at the same time. My favorite part of this whole thing is it has this scream that goes in reverse, or reverse volume, which just makes it sound kind of creepy. And then this is like messages that were recorded with between special ghost messages that if you actually found them, it's cool. Like you can find them on the Recode website. I don't know if anyone's actually found them. They're all kind of hidden throughout the website, but this is one of the last ones. And this is recorded by my boyfriend, who is currently not here, but he is coming. And then I recorded the last section.
Of course I remember you.
Which has, again, another vocal transformer, which makes it sound kind of funky.
Of course I remember you.
Because I recorded it like that. And then a channel EQ that is just taking all of the lows out of it. And a noise gate, so it is nice and quiet. Also, this is the first instance of what you'll see is the most nonsensical Recode trend ever, where every single fucking song has varispeed on it to an extreme degree.
Of course,
like everything is weirdly slowed down or sped up.
Of course, I remember you.
Like you'll see, it'll become a whole thing. So that's the first song. Oh God, why am I opening Google? It's funny because like this is the last thing that I worked on for the entire project, because I was just trying to get something going, and I had this piano section. In my head for a while, like I had this saved, and I didn't really know what to do with it until later. Oh yeah, I for a lot of the album, I use this Cthulhu, X for Records Cthulhu, because all I have to do is click like one button and it gives me like a chord that's within like a chorale. So it's kind of fun, and you can make it into like an arpeggio. So this thing is cool. It's I don't remember where I got the chorals from. You have to like install them, but you can do all sorts of things with it. You could transpose it, which I did like really, really high. And that's what generates a lot of the chords for this album, because I know like what key I want, and I know like what kind of sound I want, but I am so not good at music theory, and I know Tracey would roast the hell out of me for doing it this way, but it's just the way that it works for me. And that's generally like what do you see? No, yeah, Tracey. Yeah, I know in my head what I want, but I never know exactly how to get it out. And then once I have something like that, it'll be like a good starting point. And then I kind of like rip those apart. Like a lot of times in the album, there's like things where I'll use that thing to get a chord, and then the rest of the chords I wrote after that. So it's weird. But that is the intro track. That is all there is to it. There's nothing else to it. I don't even know what the hell this is. Oh yeah, that was just like extra vocals. I think the cat meow is in here somewhere, but I'm not gonna play it. That is that track. So I'm going to move on to the next one, because now it's actually gonna get complicated. While I load the next song, give quick questions because I can answer them very fast. Yeah, Fox. I wanted. I mean, obviously it's disc 2, so it has to like follow up, but there is an overarching narrative that is kind of like concluding with this one. And I think it's, like obviously this character is speaking to someone, and then the other character responds. But I don't really want to give too many spoilers, because it's kind of, all the information's out there. You guys can find it. It's just like very loose and all over the place.
Yeah, don't be lazy.
Oh my God. Well, I keep telling people that there's a bunch of secrets on the website, but no one ever finds them. This is the detective server. Okay. I'm sharing the screen. This is the start of Just Like You, which is like 12. This is like a million files that make this. This was the first thing that was made that I sent to Bio at first, which is just this sequence. So that was all it was, because Bio sent me these drums, which I put into a bus and put OTT on it, so it just makes it nice, super stupidly loud. Almost every song I OTT, I'm just like downward outgain, really loud OTT. I don't really focus on it too hard. And this was what Bio originally sent. Well, let me actually. Oh no, this is a Looperman thing. Sorry, Bio sent this. Which I obviously chopped up. It was like its own long file of just drums. I couldn't explain to you how Bio made it. I just can't. I'm not smart enough. But if Rico comes on at some point, we can go over it. But I do not have the original stems of what that was. But then I am obsessed with Looperman and like Looperman dubstep samples. So a lot of the samples in the album are things like this that were just straight up Looperman rips, and then I just chopped them up into something else. Because it just adds flair, and it's nice to have like this repertoire of like dubstep sounds that are easy to go through. I have a Looperman folder where I just keep all of the Looperman samples. Where is it? Yeah, some of these you could probably hear like other songs that I've worked on in it. Like that's an Surrender. So you can like dig through those, but the main synth in this is this wet fish sound, which is vital. I think it's from the Box Kitty kit. see. Yeah, it's from the Box Kitty kit. I did almost nothing to it. I'm pretty pro just like using, if you like a sample or a preset, just use it. The first one has a lot of things on it. It has a compressor, which the Logic compressor, I just use Platinum Digital for almost everything. And then I use Reason Rack, which is straight up just like you have to just own Reason. And then it's the rack system from Reason inside of a different program. So I have all of the Reason effects, and then like you can like attach them together, and then it wires it together, and you can like, move it around. It's like, oh, here we go. It's like wired up now. But goes off. I use this a ton. It's called the what is it called? The retro transformer. I use the dishwasher effect, and then I usually put it through the middle because it just sounds super gross. It just it just makes it mushy and disgusting. OTT, channel EQ as always, and then a noise gate because the dishwasher makes all these disgusting noises if you don't have the thing on it. Like, yeah, so it's just, I don't know why it does that. I think it's just like the OTT plus whatever it is makes it overwhelmed. And then there is a regular, or like, there's a regular drum line that is somewhere in here, but I think the Make Believe hi-hat, which is just a Logic one. I just use it on a lot of things with OTT on it because it's just nice and simple. Now we will go over the magical sample, which I will not tell you what it is because I cannot use it legally and no one will ever know what this is. But that's all you get out of it. But generally, it's a sample that I cut up, put effects on, and then re-exported. And then it's just in the quick sampler. You can't see that. And then OTT'd it. So that's generally it. No, it's not your version, Tracey. Unfortunately, I just stuck with the original. So that's what starts the song. And then there's a whole other fucking file where this is the actual file of the song. It's stupidly big. Most of the songs start off with something really tiny and simple, and then I actually get to the main grid of the song, and it's like extremely big. And I have like an organized version of this, but I didn't really want to like show you a cut version of it because I wanted to show you exactly what it is when I'm like doing it. Don't worry about the readability doesn't really matter because all these things are named nonsense. Like literally there's an area over here that's like audio 28, 29, 20, 30, 56, 51 new transitions. They're nonsense. I just remember where they are. But yeah, so this is the original. Oh wait, I'll turn that down. It's all in one file right here. Crunched to oblivion. Bio and Mickelbach did some edits to it and then sent it back, and then I did the rest of it. So that was sent to me like that. And then I asked Bio to stem out this sound from their original edit, which Bio thought it wasn't necessarily anything special, but I was like, this is going to be the main driving melody of the song. So I put an OTT on it, as almost every single song in this entire thing. And it cuts, and it just kind of loops over and over again. That's the main driving force between that and the drums, which is a collection of various things combined into one big track. Sum 4 is all the drums. Which is a combination of trendy fills, which I just wanted the snare from because they're just so clean. And then this glitter nice hi-hat topper, which is like a Logic topper with OTT on it. And then a kick. I'm trying to remember what kick it is. I use Battery 4 for almost all of my drum stuff. it's a trendy kick and a trendy clap, which totally makes sense. But bum, which kind of drives the entire song. On top, it's just a channel EQ. Nothing too special. All right. So that is the main crux of the song that drives most of it. So my favorite part of it is the silly little guitar noise, which I think is this one. Yep. I think it's on, yeah, it's an ARP right now. So it's a serum. My serum has a stupid skin, so bear with me. It's this guitar from the Liz Secret serum sauce that is all the way, I don't remember exactly where it is. It's really far down. I have a million of these things. It's really far down, and it... But it's on an ARP. It has a tape delay, which is just set to 30 wet and just high cut, which is almost all of my tape delays because otherwise it gets too muddy. And it's on an ARP in a couple of chords, and it just goes like that for the whole thing. And that is the main driving, like underneath the drums, that's what keeps it running.
I still can't sleep, you live in my...
I just think that's funky and fun. There's really not that much to this. It's those things only in the vocals. I'll get to the vocals like later. I just want to get through most of the instrumentals. The sample from before comes back with a tape delay. That's most of it. Like that is the straight up, like a huge majority of the song is that. So once it hits here, there's a little, this just does a little drum line. There's very little going on there. And Bio also sent these synths. Oh wait, no, where are they? They're in here, I think. No, where did I put them? As you can see, it's kind of mushed everywhere. These chords that I just cut up because I like them. When they're chopped up like this, they emphasize the pauses instead of like filling the void, because if they fill it up too much, there's not as much like hit on each of these drums. But it is. A lot of times I leave the stupid fucking clip. Like I don't like actually clip them right. They just go click. Because it adds something to the hi-hats. I don't know why. So that's how that goes. And then it's the drum. Sorry, losing my train of thought here. These start crunching together, which I don't really know why I left it like that, but. So that's most of the song. I will go over the vocal chain because there's not a lot to it. It's just kind of...
I still can't sleep, you live in my...
There's a pitch corrector, which is all the way down, like hardcore auto-tune. There's a channel EQ that is just kind of how I put most of my channel EQs. This is just how my voice works. I have a lot of low that I have to cut out, and then I add boost stuff in this range, in the like 200 to 1,500-ish range. I also boost... sometimes I boost the 2,000 to 3,000 range. It just depends on what I'm doing. And then I leave the tops untouched. And I'll put a noise gate on because I like everything super tight.
My dreams down.
When I stop talking, it's just silent.
No memories, still feeling fuzzy. Damn, stuck in between.
Yep, just like that. And then OTT, as always. And that's it for almost all of it. Sometimes I put a de-esser, but not really for this album.
I still can't sleep. You live in my dreams, down, fall through the sheets. No matter went to Church Street, I got...
Once I hit here, it's almost the exact same, except I have a vocal transformer.
Sometimes I if you've left this world. Look at me now, I'm a big girl.
Get to hear me do all these stupid vocal effects that I'm embarrassed by, but whatever.
Just like you.
And then there's the hardstyle part, but I'm gonna skip that for a sec because this second sequence is almost exactly the same in terms of instrumentalization. It's just different chords. This is one of my favorite synths in the whole album, and I use it multiple times. It's just the Serum stock gritter. I use it completely raw. I don't touch it. I just put like compressors and OTTs on it because it just becomes disgusting. You'll see that all of my piano roll is just disgusting and looks weird because I almost exclusively play everything live. I almost never pencil anything in. So that's why certain songs have that weird funk or swing around it, or like it just kind of sounds goofy because I just be playing it. Let me figure out if I can remember. Yeah, it's just. It's just a simple scale. There's nothing special to it. These are exactly the same. Again, exactly the same. So then this section has a sub bass on it. Simple sub, nothing special, just to add depth. And then for some reason, I wanted it even more gross and kind of starting to distort. So there's like upright bass from, I want to see where it's from. Another Liz Serum sauce.
Look at me now, I'm a big girl. Look at me now, I'm just like you. Just like you.
That's generally what that is. There's like literally nothing else going on. There's like some subs in other sections, but okay. That is the majority of the rock sequences. I like the screenshot of the Serum presets, all disgusting. Oh, I'm sorry that the readability sucks. Maybe I'll take some pictures of it later. You don't actually have to read anything. It's just like I'm not necessarily like showing off all the samples and things like that, but I can definitely get you guys screenshots of like what I use because I'm not really interested in keeping it a secret or anything. Wait, let me see. Turning down the frame rate. Let me try that. I could do it to 30. Is that any better at all? Anything better? Did that solve it? That's so stupid. Okay, but now you can see everything. What the fuck? This sequence is fun because this is like mostly a mix idea. This is where a lot of the weird bass stuff comes into play, and it was actually really difficult to get this to work because it was just kind of like dry at first, but it was just so cool I had to like actually flesh it out. This is mix synth that they sent back. It has OTT and channel EQ just barely touching it. Like this, just a kick. Very little going on here. There's also, it's like double kick. I just kind of overload it with kicks. And then there's a sub. Boom, 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 like that. There's nothing going on with it. It is, again, just a dedicated sub from the VR Serum presets. It's just, I have a bunch of Virtual Riot presets. And then Cymatic stuff. So, generally, it's just it's these subs are filling in the space that these are leaving. So it goes. then a little cutie little snare comes in. Oh shit! I'm trying to remember what channel that's on. I think it's this. Whoa. This one. Again, not a lot of stuff going on this track. The box kitty wet sound comes back. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Here, wet fish comes back. Bio transition work, and then it goes back to the next section. So that's like, it's difficult to explain like what's going on because there isn't even a lot. It's straight up just I want to do a hard style part, and it's like, okay, we'll figure that out, and we do it. It's just the hard style bass rolling with the double kick, and that's kind of all that is. Once it gets to here is where it gets really complicated. This is just a huge smorgasbord of samples that I've separated into a variety of different tracks. They're simply cut up with OTT, expander, and limiter on almost all of them. I love this drum line because it's just super fun. Shit. It's just this nice little like break course like rolling thing, and then a nice little hi-hat underneath it. It just makes it sound so complicated. Again, just OTT on top. There's a couple weird screechy sounds that come out of. It's a lot of, as I said before, it's a lot of Looperman samples that have been chopped up and re-put through a bunch of different distortions. Some of them were in Bio's end, some of them were on my end. It's either like OTT with the Reason Rack stuff, or it's some kind of vocal filters or things that are not really supposed to be on it, and it just makes these horrible, horrible sounds. I think it's also stressed a little bit. Yeah, it also has some rhythmic stretching on it, which makes it sound super weird. Looperman is goated website. That is correct, Issa. Underneath this whole thing, there's a dedicated sub. There is a drum line that goes through the majority of the thing. It is a version of the drum line that Mick sent me, but it is more compressed with OTT and a little bit of pitch. That's all it is. It is very simple. It goes into halftime over here because it gets so intense. A lot of these disgusting noises are Bio samples that I sent a bunch of Looperman samples to Bio, and then we stretched them into oblivion. I'm trying to find which ones were Bio, but there's like this long chain of Bio samples. But yeah, buy Bio sample pack because there's a lot of things that are just like that in there. And these are just other things that never made it. Yeah, you get to hear stuff that never made it to the final cut. There was originally supposed to be a build-up to that final sequence, but the song was just getting way too long. And that was the original test run of that. There was also supposed to be like a wet fish fast part. Didn't work out either. But as you can see, there's a million different versions of this. Like with, it's just all. This is the song, and then all of this is not the song. But that's generally how it goes. The last thing that's important to note about the song is that the entire song is very speeded. It is very speeded by 18.94%, which ends up being, I think we did it by detune. Yeah, 3 semitones up. There's an Ableton equivalent that is out now that you can use to speed up entire tracks. It speeds up the speed and it speeds up the tone. And for some reason, Logic Verispeed is so clean that everything just sounds great. It's like, this is what it sounds like without it.
Stuff feeling fuzzy, damn, stuck in between. Went to Church Street, I got cold feet down on my knees.
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird things you could do with it. You could like adjust it by semitones, by tuning reference if you're a crazy person, by BPM, resulting tempo, by percentage. I always do semitones because it's easy and it stays in tune if I send stems to someone, because if I do it in a percentage, then it's really annoying and it's out of key. That's why all of disc 1 is slightly out of key and it's very annoying. But that is just like you. That is how it works. That is the top to bottom of how it works. I wish I had more explanation of the sound design of like a lot of the bass effects, but I completely implore you to just straight up download dubstep samples and chop them up. That is a huge chunk of my material. Like I think people think I design more work than I do. It is straight up just chopped up dubstep samples, cut up right. And I think there's a lot of like skill to be learned in like chopping up samples and like actually making sure that they work, because you could be like an incredible sound designer and have like the shittiest like taste in samples and like placement, and it just makes a song bad, versus someone who like just is like, oh, I just like these samples, and then like they make one of the best songs you've ever heard. So I think a lot of good music work is just like practicing your taste making. Shut up, Tracey. Justice. Oh my god. Yeah, it is actually a huge element of like Justice influence, because Justice obviously is like my favorite like electronic group, and their entire repertoire is just like we're stealing a sample and we're making a song out of the sample. Like that is like, I mean, their entire first album, I think the rumor was it was on GarageBand, and you could find the original samples of almost every single song. It is kind of incredible. But that's generally like what all of ReCodePop is like referencing, like early dance blockhouse music. Okay, that is just like you. If you have questions while I open the next file, ask them now, because the next song is what I literally forgot what song is on my fucking album in what order. Holy shit. Yeah, it's Distance, which also has its own hugely elaborate system of things. So question time really fast. Okay, where did I get the guitar preset for Serum? I think someone sent it in Angel's chat. I don't know whose it was from. It was just something when I was like spamming out, like, someone give me Serum presets, please. Ooh, one of my favorite Serum and Vital presets. Okay, I will answer that really fast. Let me find it. I'm going to stream again and just show favorite Serum presets really fast. I could do it really fast. I love these 2 packs. I love the Heaven Sends Serum presets pack. It is fucking insane. Everything in it is insane. Everything's great. Everything's great in that pack. The Sad Key Serum presets, also good. Oop. I just like things that make gross sounds. And then I also love the Sad Key Serum presets 2 and 3 are both good. And then I use a lot of Liz's Secret Serum sauce. I forgot who sent it to me straight up. But it just has so much stuff in it. It is just so big. It is really, really big. So I go through that a lot. Those are my favorite Serum presets. But yes, we love Box Kitty. For Vital, it's just only Box Kitty. That's all I use for Vital, like straight up. So buy the Box Kitty Vital pack. Please support Box Kitty. Wait, someone asked another question. Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'll take one more question, then I'll go on to the next song. But meanwhile, thank you everyone for being here for this long. Like, I know we're only one song in, but let me see what's going on. One more question. Distance with Kong is actually so interesting because it's one of the only songs that only had like one file. I didn't go through a bunch of files for this one. It was all just kind of held together in one mega file. But let me open that now. Missing sampler instrument as always. Okay. Here, I'm going to stream. It is another extremely stupidly large file. This is what distance looks like. It starts off with a large chunk of it is this Looperman, Gonna Little Baby pull up, like I think that's what it's called. Like guitar riff. That's ridiculous and definitely not made for the genre of music. But I timed it with the Logic timing element, the rhythmic timer. And then I have a pitch shifter on it. Only at 20. Oh, let me turn this down. Only at 26% because it just adds. It makes it sound like it has this weird chorus on it. OTT, an expander, channel IQ. These are all off. These are me testing, and then a noise gate, and that is literally all it is. Oh no, 60 FPS again. It's annoying. Okay, whatever. I'll keep doing it 30. Thanks, Kate. All right. So this is a funny trend that I do on all the tracks, but I use the shittiest bass known to man. It is the Logic sampler fretless electric bass. It is absolutely garbage. It sounds really great in the song, but if you listen to it, like in the song, you'll hear it sounds like. Get it, I said it, I live it, I dread it, you stole it, you changed it to something. It sounds like a joke alone. It's just really awful. It's just the worst thing ever. But for some reason, when it's low, it just, I don't know, the bass structure that it has just sounds good on everything. So I'll hide it underneath tracks. Get it, I said it, I live it, I dread it. And it sounds like a real bass. I have no idea why. It's really weird. But alone, absolute garbage. So this is primarily comprised of that. I have everything in a battery 4 kit. I am insane and don't separate my kits. It is all one kit with OTT on it. Which, don't do that. But I do it because it makes everything really crunchy. Like, it's an easy way to make everything crunchy and cool. But it's definitely not good for mastering in any way, shape, or form. I think that's all that's on the main portion of the song. Then the vocals, but that's all that it makes it up. The vocals are all in a track here. And again, very simple stuff going on. It has, usually I just have the pitch correction all the way down, like always. I have a channel key noise gate that's just always on tighten up. And then I have OTT every single time. You see all these little things in here. If you don't know how Logic works, this is just the Logic like pitch, flex pitch. If you turn it on, it just looks like that automatically. But I definitely went through and repitched stuff. It's kind of just like, it's just Melodyne baby mode.
I get it, I said it, I live it, I dread it, you stole it, you changed it to something.
Yeah, this has a pedal board on it, so it sounds gross.
I don't know. I took it, I love it, I crush it, I snort it, my fingers, my toes, and my nerves are so dumb. You mold it over with your friends.
Plus a vocal transformer that's just barely on.
Friends that you chose it, I still like, don't get it.
Makes it sound crunchier. That's all. It's not even a lot. It's like really not complicated. That's all that is on the intro part.
Get it, I said it, I live it, I dread it, you stole it, you changed it.
Yeah, this is Logic, Fox.
Something I don't know, I took it, I like nerves are so dumb. You
Little high version for fun with the vocal transformer on it, I think. Or did I just sing it really high? I straight up don't remember. Oh, it has yeah, vocal transformer.
What did you have to go? I lost it, I burned it,
Really embarrassing.
I broke it, I sold it, I found it, I kept it, still smells like you can know. Just over your friends that you chose that I still like, don't get it. What did you have to go? I lost it, I burned it, I broke it, I sold it, I found it, I kept it.
Yep, it's just garbage underneath. But that's that's what ends up making that together. This is where the longer parts happen. It is the same stuff going on. Oh, my boyfriend just came home. You want to say hi to the stream?
It still feels fake to just be moving on. Still make the most of us and what I saw.
A lot of times when I'm singing my main parts, I kind of lean into the pitch corrector because without it, it sounds kind of gross, but I'm singing kind of weird notes to get it to hit certain parts of pitch correction.
It still feels fake to just be moving on.
Like I kind of bend stuff up like that because I want it to hit a certain note.
Still make the most of us and what I saw. I keep the box closed so I know you're gone.
It's definitely just out of key, but this is exactly the same.
Still moving on. Still
Has a
make
vocal
the
transformer
most
like
of
before.
us and what I saw. I keep the box closed so I know you're gone. Don't think of me, I finally belong.
This is the Reason choir, which I love. I usually use Venus because it sounds really good. There's also Mercury and Mars. It's, you know, stupid male and female versions, whatever. Yes, I use Reason instruments all the time. I actually use Spire, the Spire inside of Reason for a large portion of the synthesizers on this. You'll see very soon. But there's this choir that runs through most of the song. This is where everything gets crazy. I have this donk sample from Umru that is distorted out into oblivion. I also have it's another donk, I think. Oh no, this is the donk synth, but really high pitched and with a delay on it. And then I think that's all that is, yeah, on top of it. It's funny because they're not even arpeggios, it's just me going like, it's just playing, where do I actually play it? I play it somewhere in here and then I bounce it out. Oh, I'm sorry guys, there's a million tracks here. Oh, here it is. Yep, here's the original. God. It's just that, but because it has the delay on it, it ends up sounding super fun because it's just like kind of rolls across. Is that Gigi?
Yeah.
My cat wants to say something on the mic. Okay. That's generally what that is. It rolls through the entire midsection of the song because it just kind of keeps this like rolling gallop going, like, I don't know, like throughout the entire thing. The guitar's still there, but now it has a noise gate on it that is being gated to a drum line. I'm trying to find where the drum line is. Down here somewhere. What is audio 9? God, I don't know where it is. But there's a kick drum sequence that's going like that through the entire thing. There's the stupid horn. Weird whisper vocals. And then now we have the first moment of Kong doing scream vocals for me, which is expanded, noise gated. This is the drum section. It is the swagged out kit again, exported, and a bed squeak. That is all it is. There is nothing else to it. But it's fun because the donk noise acts like a drum. So there's kind of like two kicks going on. Like if I just have this, these, and this, it just... Yes, I did quantize the best squeak. I quantized it with the Logic quantizer, which is hilarious. Let me see. Yep, quantize. So that is the entire chorus. It's basically just that. And there's a slowed down part. Just chop these into little sections.
Day, the same shit. Another day I walk around.
I love this flute. It is a... I'm trying to think of where it's from. It's another Liz Secret Sauce flute. Oh. It has, I think most of the weird noise comes from hyperdimension and like a filter and compressor. It sounds very Jack Stauer, but I like it. It has this weird breakdown section.
Walk around without a facelift. I called my mom, apologize, I didn't make it. I was way too busy fucking off and getting faded.
Then these keys show up alongside it to add some movement. These keys are probably another Liz again. Yep. I just kind of used that for most of the first half of the album. So these keys are cool because I have a little secondary noise. When you let go, it like does this another noise. So that's why they have that second like that. Simple sub bass. Just a SFX. And then this is super fun. This is another serum. Why are they all in here? Maybe they're not in here. I don't know where they're actually coming from. I think I edited this one a little bit. I think I took off some delay, but very trance with an ARP, chords, which I find super fun. It's just very trance for no reason. It's the only moment in the album that I think gets super trancey. The vocals, which Kong's vocals don't even need that much going on. It just has a space delay, a channel EQ, and a de-esser, which a lot of the feature vocals have because people have like different recording setups.
Get it, skip the drama, homie, miss me. Storm Rage Odyssey is unforgiving.
The real interesting part is down here with the Umer basses. I love doing these little like, because they become a drum instead of just like some disgusting kick noise. It's like boom, pop, 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 pop. This is some leftover bio-based work from Just Like You that I kept using. Harmony. which I moved, I think, to that spot.
I miss you, trying to improve. Instead of pulling out my hair, screaming, shout, I won't forget you.
And then it's exactly the same. And then once we get to the end, it's the flutes again, but they play a slightly different note, which is kind of sadder. And I like how they fade out into, they go like, there's a real piano here. Yeah, I should actually explain the Recode piano sound because it's actually very specific. I almost exclusively use the Radical piano from Reason Rack, almost always the American Pop piano, and I have an OTT on it, and sometimes I have EQ, and that is for every single song. Like every time I use the piano, it's this disgustingly OTT piano because it's just way too loud, and it just sounds. I'm trying to find my pedal here. It's just so easy to use. Oh god. It's so loud and bright, and I don't think there's a lot of room for like low tone like in this kind of music in general. So I like to have it super, super crispy, super, super bright. And that is almost every single track uses that. This is the end of Kong's part, which is just a very, it's the part of this harmony. And then Kong's part comes over on top.
Trying to improve. Instead of pulling out my hair, screaming, shout, I won't forget you.
And that is the end of the song. There's not much to it. Again, it's another song that looks like 1,000 tracks, and it ends up being nothing. These were all attempts to do various different sounds, and they all failed. So let's see what they actually sound like. Oh, isn't that awesome? This is like 20 different versions of me trying to figure out the main melody for this song, and now none of them work together anymore. But that is distance. That is the general way the distance works. If anyone has questions, please give them to me now before I move on, because I think Don't Sleep and Don't Sleep has more than one version, I think. But I might just use one. Question time, you got like 2 minutes while I say hi to my cats. Punch the cupcake? JJ punched the cupcake. Any questions about Gigi and JJ? I'm looking at JJ right now. He's walking away. Do they bite? Sometimes. They don't hurt you though. How do I tell them apart? JJ has a little long face, and Gigi has a little scrunch face, and Gigi's shorter than JJ. They are doing good, Tracey. They are just bored in their new apartment. Yes, they are allowed to bite. They never hurt anyone. They just kind of nip you. One more Gigi JJ question. I like answering them. Oh, you want to answer one?
Yeah.
Okay, Ness wants to answer a Gigi JJ question. This is the interactive section.
There's an interact.
Yeah, this is the interactive session. We talk to the audience. Kitty, that's not a question.
That's a good question.
You want to answer it?
Yeah, so true, Kitty. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm like,
Yeah, I have the thing pretty loud. I think they can hear you. Can you guys hear Ness? Yeah. I'll say hi. You want to talk? You want to talk about?
talking.
Yeah, but do you want to say anything about the album or anything? About how annoying I've been?
Is anyone playing? No.
What the fuck? No, stop!
Step away from
It's like, hey guys, a 20-minute intermission. I'm gonna play Splatoon. You can play Splatoon. Okay, I'm getting back to the actual content that I must give to the audience. Yeah, I do want to answer that, Tannis, that it is there's like 20 or 30 different versions of every song inside every song. Like I just keep trying something, and then I mute it because it's coming, the content's coming. Because I don't want to forget about it, and then I end up having this one version where I'm like, I like this one, and then there's 20 versions that are just sitting there unlabeled that are not used. And because I have very immediate short-term memory and very bad long-term memory, I remember exactly what the tracks are, and then later on I completely forget them. So.
Eat the donut.
Sorry, the cats are trying to eat something. I'm sharing the screen now. Kong, how do you not lose track in different versions? I do. There are songs that are just lost to the ether. There's a bunch of songs that are just gone. Because no, for real, Gem. I think if it gets lost, it's just kind of fate. Because usually if it gets lost too much, there's like a reason that it didn't make sense. Like I just had like 20 versions, and I was like, this doesn't sound right. And I finally just get tired of it. But okay, can you guys see the stream for the next song? Because this one is fun. This one's a lot of melody work. And I actually thankfully have most of the original stem work for it. So, yeah, I'm gonna put it up to 30. It's now at 30. This one, for some reason, I have this. There's like a couple versions of a song called "Dishwasher," which I've been working on like on and off for an extended period of time. This was one of the final versions of it, and now we're kind of at the closure of like I'm just gonna stop working on that song. But this song is fun because it's one of the longest running songs. A lot of people touched it, but then it ended up just kind of not working out. And then the only person that ended up like actually pulling the strength out of it was Vlad. But the main sample is made up of this trendy. I think this is a good. Oh shit! Let me turn that down. It's kind of based around. Where is it? There's this Umru saw synth that runs through the entire song. It's like the voice breathy C. That's the main. These are the harmonies for it. It's funny because these two simple melodies just end up sounding so complicated when they're on top of each other. Then there's the trendy 808 flappy that goes underneath it. It's just, I use it in a very weird, not 808 way. I just use it as this weird, like, rolling drum. And that is primarily the like most of the song. It is just that and this Pete Davis kit. There's a trendy snare buried in there. And then it comes in later. Just this cute little kit that I use. And I like this cute little breakcore part that's really fast. Like, this is all it is. This synth comes in at some point. It is a Reason rack. This is the first time on the album that the Spire comes out. It is literally just Spire inside of Reason, like the actual Spire synth. So you can use it if you don't have Reason. I love Spire. I actually like it way more than Serum, just because every time I want to make a rave sound, it's just in Spire. Like if I want to make rave music or trance music, it's just here inside of it already. Nice. But this has a nice rolling bass nose. It's funny because this is one of those songs that sounds extremely complicated, but I just showed you all those parts and they're not even that elaborate. I love filling in the voids of breaks. Like a huge recode proponent is like having a little breaks, like this little. I like just pausing. That is most of the instrumentation for almost all of it. The keys change. Click around on lyrics. Oh. Yeah, you guys are figuring shit out. Yeah, that's a majority of what's going on there. The vocals are fun because Vlad just sent me a ton. I remember being like, yeah, can you just do like some sing-songy thing? And they're just like on it. And I just get all of these back.
Don't sleep. Wow, running a circle.
There's not even a lot going on in it. It's mostly just some channeling cues and then a tape delay. Vlad is just so good. I always am floored whenever I get to work with someone and like I barely have to do any work for like mixing their vocals and stuff. Vlad just sent this and I was like, oh, it's done. That's incredible.
Wait, solo some of these. I want to hear some of them soloed.
You want to? Yeah, you do.
Well, because it's so like layered.
Yeah, I know. But I will say that like the only work I did was with these where it was like I panned them left and right. But I will solo some of them.
Now you spoil the surprise.
I love those ones.
Yeah.
It's just lots of noises, but it adds to the entire song because there's so many noises going on in the song. You happy, Ryan? You got what you wanted? Yeah. I just find it interesting that there's so many noises that all coexist, and I didn't have to cut any of them. It's like the song doesn't feel cluttered.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was like, I need to hear how this actually comes together.
Yeah. This is where I come in. I just add on top of it. As always, very similar vocal chain to normal, vocal transformer to pitch up, things like that. And I also record it sometimes. I think I recorded this one slow with various speed off, and then I turned it back on to pitch myself back up. Ooh, shit, I actually unmuted a bunch of shit. You get to hear all the gross garbage that never made it in. Yeah, that stuff never made it into the final cut, but get the gist. Yeah, that didn't make it in, and that didn't make it in. But once we get to this sequence, this is where it gets really fun. Because this is all of Vlad's original vocals, but they're processed through the Reason Rack sweeper effect, and it just sounds super crazy. So this is the main thing that makes this sequence feel different. That's running throughout the entire underneath of it, and I use a Warfare 808, and it has a little bit of glide on it. the only original vocal of Vlad's I kept as the main melody. I'll go through those in a bit. And this is the only moment that the saw synth start being used as chords. This is just a cute little whistle synth that goes on top. Just a little square wave. Pete Davidson comes back almost exactly the same, just a little bit more amped up. There's a synth underneath that adds some space. It's nothing special. I think it's another Liz synth. And it kind of goes along with the 808. Straight up, that's the end of the song. It does that almost till the entire end. It's just there's some little effects in here. There's little noises, risers that I put at the end of each kind of bar section just to keep the track moving. That's it. There's nothing else going on. 808 Warfare is a collection of 808s. I think I don't remember if it's in. No. God, can't spell. I don't remember where exactly I got the Warfare 808s from, but they're from somewhere. That is that song, and it is now question time. Question time. I feel like if the stems are going to be released, do I know when? I do not know when, because I am waiting on some exclusive remixes that might be happening first. But when those are done, yes, they will be released no matter what. But I feel bad about that song because there's so much going on in it, but I feel like it's all kind of self-explanatory, and I don't have the music theory to actually explain underneath the hood what's going on. But I really enjoy that song a lot. I think that's one of my favorite songs on the album. And shout out Vlad for making the process super easy, because that song was in the works for so long, and then we finally kind of like put it together, and it just ended up being super simple and perfect. Yeah, we could do an in-depth vocal chain breakdown at the end. I did one at the beginning, but it wasn't that much going on. How big are the project file sizes? The biggest one is I Spy. Oh no, the biggest one is Closer, and it's 1.3 gigs. The smallest one is the intro, and it's 103 megabytes. Thank you for liking Surrender. I do like Surrender a lot. A lot of the sound design work for Surrender crossed over into this album. But if anyone has like one or two more questions, I will do it. I just have to boot up the next song, and I'm trying to see how many files were originally for it. Something to wait for. Okay, this one actually has more than one file going into it, so. Oh, what's up with the decimals and tempos? When you use Logic Verispeed, it moves the entire track up by semitones, which keeps it in key, but it messes with the tempo, because to get something in key, it's not a perfect tempo math. So I'll put it up like 2 semitones, and it duplicates it by like 2, but it's not perfect math, so it ends up being slightly off. But I'd rather keep it perfect key so someone can work on it later, versus perfect tempo, where it'll be off key, and then you have to like edit every single thing you're working on to be in that key. Let me find the original file for Something to Wait For, because it's multiple files. It might not have all of them. Oh wait, it might be this. Sorry, the plugin manager takes forever to load. Brian and Ness are trying to secretly display Splatoon in the background. Get your points. It's got to be the original version. Sorry for the coughing. I am a heavy smoker. Okay. Yes, I am. See, I can't wait for it, or something to wait for, which is kind of difficult to go through because there was like 20 different versions of it, and every time it got replayed or re-exported, I will go through what I'm trying to find the original copy, but I don't actually know where it is. But I'm going to go through the current file, and I will do my best to explain, because the original like synthesizers are kind of lost to the ether. I have all of the stems that have created it into a new version. I just don't have the OG synths. I do just name something stupid like attempt number 3, 4, 5, 21, whatever. But it's actually one of the simplest in terms of synthesizer work. It's just really basic serum and like 808 samples. So let me open this version of it. Okay. This is the final file for Something to Wait For. This is where everything goes. The main... yeah, I'll explain what goes on in it because it's a little bit complicated, but it's a main bass that goes underneath. Which is just straight up just an over distorted 808. It doesn't even matter what 808 it was, to be honest. It's just kind of, oh shit, I gotta change to 30. Thank you. It is just an 808 with a rolling pitch change thing. I'll get to the drums in a second. The piano and synth are interesting. The piano is exactly what I explained earlier with the other piano effect. It is the reason... The reason rack piano, the radical piano with an OTT on it. But that sound is... I'm trying to remember exactly which one it is, but it's something in the Logic synths. I think it's... be this one. Yeah, it's something inside this. I put the polyphonic synth from Logic, like the really shitty basic one, through an OTT and an effect on the Reason rack, and that's what made that do. That's all it is. There's nothing like special going on underneath the hood there. So finding the original file actually doesn't really change that much. But this is not the exact one. It's just something like that, but it has some effects on top of it. Nez, at the end, I'll try to find the exact noise. I'll try to find the exact file. I just don't want to waste people's time of me digging through the files for like 20 minutes, but I will look for it. The vocals are processed as the other ones are with the OTT, the compressor, and these original ones have a vocal transformer that pitches them up really high. I recorded it very slow and then pitched it up high in various speeds. I don't actually know the pedal board effect that Button Maker has on it because they sent me the Sims back, but it has some kind of pedal board effect, and they use a I'm not sure if they run Logic like I do, but there is a Logic plugin. It is in the multi-effects, the remix FX, that there's these little like remix noises where it sounds like a record vinyl is going on it. You could do stuff like this. Like if it underneath, that's probably what's going on. then the drums are, I think it is a battery kit, a regular battery kit. I don't have any specific drums. Like, there was no sample drums at that point. There's that little, that is a Tracey sample. I think I could find the exact one, but it's from one of the mini kits. It is, I don't remember which, but it's one of the Tracey mini kit hi-hats rolling over top. And that's what makes most of this sequence. Once we get to this part, it's where some of the instruments come in. Where's the bass? Oh, there's actually, I actually do have the keyboard version of it. The bass is this placebo effect bass. I think it's this. No. It is buried in, oh, here it is. It is the Box Kitty plastic bass. I knew it was a Box Kitty song. What are you reading in the thing? Rewrite too depressing? Oh man, what is, oh, okay. It actually ended up staying in the final cut. It is the main vocal melody. I remember originally having it and thinking it was way too depressing. I'll go over why, because it actually, like, lyrically is really intense. There's actually nothing special on there. It's just the original version. But the main thick bass that's going on in this section is a Box Kitty bass. I love this sample. That kind of, it's just a space delay, but like Among Us. It's the Tracey Among Us snare. Actually, I knew it was a Tracey snare somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Oh. Yep, it's just the Among Us snare. And this is another, I think Tracey's? No, it's Umru. Oh no, it's just the Among Us snare again. Yeah, the main vocal melody was the thing I thought was really depressing. It is just literally, this song is like funny because I've seen it like appear in like DJ mixes and things like that, and I don't think people know that it's just like a trauma abuse song. So like this entire section is just about abuse.
You got pics of me when I was a kid, but is that really what I wanted? You told me it's okay that you're such a cute boy, might as well have been locked in your closet. Takes a lot of time, told you something I'm away for. Speeding like a race car, clock on the radar. Heels on tight, arch my back like a jaguar. Blood boil red, take my pills with the sidecar.
And I'm not, I don't really have to get into like the detail nitty gritty there, but obviously it's a very intense trauma song about real life trauma. So originally I was going to cut it out, and then I didn't because someone told me that it was really good and I shouldn't cut it out. Underneath, this is still going.
You told me it's okay that you're such a cute boy, might as well have been locked in your closet. Takes a lot of time, told you something I'm away for. Speeding like a race car.
I want to find the keys here. This is another example of the Cthulhu going on. Another example of Spire. Oh god, what the fuck happened there? Ooh.
Back like a jaguar, blood boil red. goes with the sidecar.
So that's generally what makes that up. It's another music theory moment of me not knowing what to do and using a Bach chorale. Oop, where is it?
You got pics of me when I was a kid, but is that really what I wanted? You told me it's okay that you.
Oh, this is where this is. I knew I had it somewhere. It's a serum SFX that runs through. That's what keeps that kind of like pulsating noise going. There's these hi-hats that run underneath. Very simple. And then there's a perk. I love the perk so much. This is my favorite part of the song. These little rolls that make everything work. These like little...
On the radar, wheels on tight, on my back like a jackal.
Yeah, the little rolls just, I don't know, they add everything to it to me. This is a sweep that Button Maker added, and I keep using the entire song. I just use it constantly to keep everything rolling.
It's okay that you're such a cute boy. Might as well have been locked in your closet. Takes a lot of time, don't you something I'm away for. Speed like a race car. Clock on the radar, wheels on tight, on my back like a jaguar.
But yeah, you can see another situation of the ideology I explained earlier. That having a huge, like these gap moments adds a ton of like suspense and activity. Like, so when things come back, you're not tired. I think like a huge element of my work is trying to stop people. Like I don't want anyone to have ear fatigue listening to Disc 1 or Disc 2 song. So there's lots of moments where there's something really interesting and then it stops. Interesting, and then it stops because it keeps the energy going and it builds you up to a more elaborate part where like this sequence with the where you want something to not stop. So you're building up.
When I was a kid, but is that really what I wanted?
Moment of rest.
You told me it's okay that you're such a cute boy. Might as well have been locked in your closet.
Moment of rest. And you slowly build up, and then the last one you're finally ready for it.
Sidecar.
Then it hits, and then it stays the entire time. So you're super ready for it. This is a continuation of the same drum line. It uses the bio. More of it. I just keep using it through the whole album. I just double layered those. But this is really the star of the show for the sequence. There's a drum that is oversaturated, and that is making this entire sequence duck. So there's a ducker on here that is ducking about 50%. And the two things that are in here is a Cthulhu of the same chords, but it is using an anthem, like a synth anthem. So that's going, it's been bounced out to its own track, and then there is a bass. I think it's the same exact thing in a bass form. Or is it? No, it's just here. It's a reason, Rick. It's fire. It is a saw that is running through OTT and distortion, so it has that disgusting tail at the end. And those are all ducking at the same time to make the most intense noise ever. I use that a lot in general at this point. I really love the over ducking to make a noise kind of like completely cut out. These roll through the entire thing, so you don't get like ear fatigue from it bouncing back and forth. And there's these little gaps in between, again, to keep you rolling. It's the same keys, but there's also a synth going on top. this part it holds out a little longer because now we're indicating that it's the second half, and the vocals come back. But that's like an example of like the ideology of having pauses. Because like this sequence doesn't even have a lot of pauses, but if I was gonna like remix this or something or do it for a DJ set, it's just easy to add pauses right at the end, and it sounds 10 times more intense than it was before. So like I'll loop this section right here, and then I'm gonna play it again, adding extra pauses, and you'll see that it just sounds more intense, even though nothing has changed. And I'll do it pauses. Oh shit! Wait. You can do it anywhere. It just ends up being more intense because you have these weird moments of pause, and then it's almost like the drop happened again. That goes on for a while. Then it's just a collection of the drum sounds. I have these little. I love this. It's just a little like drum roll. There's whole other sections of stuff that got cut, as always. I love this horrible noise. I have no idea what happened there, but it's all not part of the song, as always. That's generally something to wait for. I'm sorry that I don't have the original sample stuff to go through. It's just, this is one of those songs that I exported a very rough idea, sent it to Button Maker, then we went back and forth. I do want to mention that these vocals is another example, or one of the first examples on this album at least, of me doing test vocals, and then they ended up being the actual vocals of the song, where I recorded them like holding the microphone in my hand like late at night, like trying to be quiet, like with the gain super, super high. And I was like, well, you know, I kind of have the I can't wait for it. I kind of like that melody. And then I'll like hum the rest of it, right? And it just ended up being so catchy that I just kept the humming part. And that's just the second half of the song. Like this. That's not even any lyrics. It was just me humming. And it was supposed to be lyrics, but it was just so catchy that I was just like, well, I'm just going to leave it in. Which I guess goes to show that you need to, like, I don't know. The only way I've been able to write a lot of music in general is to take a lot less, like, seriousness in terms of, like, lyric writing and things like that, where if I sat there and tried to write these lyrics for, like hours, it just wouldn't be fun, and it wouldn't come out right. Whereas this one-take version from the middle of the night is the version that stayed in the song, and it's just very compelling. And I think that's more honest of a take than like I could have gotten if I sat there and did it for a while. But that is that song. And it is quick question time before I go on to the next song. Who posted the Germa? The Germa clip is really good. Wait, let me see if anyone had any questions in here really fast. I don't use limiters for side chaining. I only use noise gates because I like the ability to just completely take the entire processing chain out, like with one kick noise. But limiters are probably a more effective way to do it. But generally, that's how that song goes. Give me 1 second. What is the next track here? Oh, Word I Spy, which is... Let me see if I can find the original copy of it. Tracey, just make 20 pop songs. I Spy is one that's kind of weird because it was originally a song written for the first album that was written with someone that who shall not be named. And then, you know, they were fucking horrible, evil person. And now the song has been scrapped. But I wrote most of the original melodies and stuff, and I didn't really want it to go away. So I kept most of them and then redid all the stuff that I had, and then worked with Nat, and we refleshed out the entire song. So the original cuts of the song are really, like, I'm not even going to open them because they're just like gross synths that are mushed together in this old file with a bunch of other stuff. So this is going to be another one where it's kind of like weird, and you don't get a lot of material out of the synth stuff. But again, at the end of the stream, I will go over making any synth, and I could try to remake any synth that people ask for. I also, I think this is one of the songs that is the most interesting because I write it like this is the last song I worked on because I had like an older version that was just not interesting to me. It was just like it was good, but I just got so bored. And the last minute, like a week before I set it out, I reworked the entire ending to make that like ending finale sequence, and that part was so interesting to me that like it ended up saving the song and like got it back onto the album. Yes. So let me see. Has anyone saying anything? Okay. So this is the main file for it. As always, it is stupidly large. It has been passed between me and Nat a bunch of times. So these vocals were, and I wish I could have shown these vocals. They were a choir effect from Reason that was processed through the Reason rack thing into a what is it called? Let me see if I can find the plugin for it. It was, oh man, I don't 100% know where it went. I think in Reason there was a like another one of those Gator sequences where if you got the, I'll find an equivalent of it for now, but you'll get the gist of it. It was like one of these effect modulators. It was either the synchronous effect modulator or the alligator filter gate, because both of those have the ability to make samples kind of like repeat in a weird choppy way. That was originally on it with a regular choir. It was just the choir doing one note. It was nothing else, nothing special. It was just one long choir note. And that's what starts it. Then the pianos, as I said, is the exact same piano format as I normally do. It just has a tape delay on it. The basses in this sequence were... This is an old synth that I don't even have anymore, so I actually I couldn't even go back into this if I tried. It was like an old preset from, I think it's either an old Reason preset or it's there's a bunch of synths on my old computer that I can't even use anymore. But basically it's just a sub underneath that's like a rising filter sub, and then this stupid doop 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 noise, which is just a pluck. But that's all that is. This hi-hat that has a compressor on it, and I think I put it through a vocal. It was through a vocal filter, which made it sound really funky. This is an example of like really intense like sample editing, because this is where a lot of like this got edited like 20 times to be this way. So let me go through it. There's this bass that is going through. Where's the actual Reason rack thing for it? So this is my favorite thing. It's a bass note that's going through the synchronous Reason effect, which ends up making it sound super weird. Let me put it back on. Oop, shit. I have it set to slice and dice. It cuts between distortion, filter, delay, and reverb back and forth. So that's running through a lot of it. In these little sequences, I moved it to specific sequences because if I had it on the entire thing, it would be a little too much. This is just a little serum sound. I think it's called the More Kismet thing. No, it's this one. Yeah, More Kismet. Obviously inspired by More Kismet. It just makes that sound. That's all it is. That is just a serum wub that adds effect. It is from the Heaven Sense presets. A lot of Heaven Sense on this one. The harmonies come in for the vocals, but I'll go over the vocals all at once. I don't think there's anything else going on with the... There's a snare that I added. It is the... Where the fuck did I get that snare from? Whatever, it is. Running through the entire bottom of it. Yeah, it's Tracey snare, right? Yeah, it's one of yours. Why is it labeled weird? Why is it MOTB? But I know it's Tracey Breaks, but why? It must have been when one of the yeah, it's your snare, right? Yeah. There's a bunch of Tracey snares in this. Yes, buy the Tracey Splice hit, please. Everyone buy the Tracey Splice kit. So the vocals are very minorly processed. It is just this was one of the ones where I put, when I recorded it originally, I put the gain stupidly high and kind of sang it a little bit away from the mic, so it sounds like I'm yelling a little louder. I did that with a lot of these gain modulation things I'm explaining, like only really work when you have like a preamp that works for it. That's why I got that preamp, the 501, because when I push the gain and stuff, the background noise is still fairly quiet and I can duck it out, so it sounds super aggressive. And then it has the distortion. That's just a regular Logic distortion and a auto-tune. And then it has all these harmonies, which Nat worked on when I sent the stems for it. There's Nat's part. Which I use a vocal transformer to pitch up, and it has tape delay and a de-esser. It used to be a little bit more dry.
I love you, I hate you, you're everything I made you to be. But neither of us wanna be me. And neither
The Logic vocal transformer is powerful.
I hate you, I love you, and others try to know what you hide. Without me, I know you would have died. I'm driving from the passenger side. Love you, I hate you, you're everything I made you be. But now the others wanna be me, and I don't wanna play hide and seek. I hate you, I love you, and others try to know what you hide. Without me, I know you would have.
Yeah, biggest lesson is to get into Reason Rack, pretty much. I'm obsessed with Reason Rack.
I'm driving from the passenger side.
And then Nat has this really cool, this like whisper part that goes underneath the entire thing. This is a synth hypersaw. I think it was from, based on the name, I think it was from Serum. I think it was just a regular hypersaw. It's not anything special. It's not anything well designed. It's just... No, Nat did this. No, Nat did this thing. This has more depth to it than I'm making it out to be. This one I got from, I think Nat did. And then I did some stuff later on with another simple saw like that. I actually really like the synth a lot. Because it's definitely one synth going, and then there's another hypersaw underneath that is being faded in and out that makes it sound so like washy, like waves. But I wish I had Nat's original version of it. So this sequence is where it kind of like does this the halftime. It is a battery. I'm using these. This it's like a Daria kit recreation snare with an OTT on the whole thing. Let me find the there's like the breakcore part, and I really love it, but I just gotta find it. Oh, there's this synth going on that like slowly rises per every bar. The same bass as before. It's the same vocals as before, but they're much more looped, and I think I don't 100% remember how those were looped. I think they were looped with... God, I don't remember. See, it's frustrating that I can't give you guys exactly what was going on with everything. But I think another element of Recode world is that everything is so disorganized that things get lost. But there is this this topper underneath. It is Jingly Topper Loop 138. Underneath.
I hate you, I love you, and others try to know what you hide. Without me, I know you would have died. I'm driving from the passenger side.
And there's more Tracey snares underneath here. Let me find the where's the little breakcore section? I love that part. I want to find it. Buried in here somewhere. Sorry, I keep losing shit, guys. There it is. Straight up, that is an AMM break that Nat worked on, and Nat definitely did a bunch of effects where it would pan side to side, and I wish I knew exactly what she did, because it's really crazy. Because I like leave it only in this section because it's just so dramatic, and it has these moments of pause, and like this moment where it rolls really fast. Like the entire track stops for a second, which I love. Like it stops and everything is paused, so you have this moment of like, oh, what? And then it keeps moving. Wait, what's going on? It's a random pan. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's definitely some kind of random pan. I don't know exactly which it is. Is it one of your breaks? Which one is it? I gotta ask Nat. That's so funny. Can you post it? Can I see it? Or which one is it? So funny. Tracey is infecting all these songs, even like from other people's projects, not even just mine. That's so funny. I knew it was one of your breaks. But did you put the pan on it, or was that Nat? Tracey wrote the Constitution. She's not affecting everything. Tracey's just a genius. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Those the kind of pan functions like that are things that I never really think of, but I love when other people like kind of are like, you should pan this, or like we should do this, or they send me like a thing back that's like going crazy like that. I'm like, that's awesome. But if you could find that exact kit, send it to me because it's so funny. But then we get to this sequence where there is a couple synths rolling. That this was originally where the song was slowly going to end, but I did not want it to. So that's rolling. Bop, bop, bop. This is where I have a bunch more information to give you guys because I made this in here, so I'm very happy about this. This is one of my favorite noises ever, the Rhythm Classic. It is a Serum preset from the Virtual Riot Serum presets. I love that sound. It is so good. It has OTT on it. And I bounced it out so I can cut it because I love the little moments where it cuts out. It's these vocals again. And then there's this huge section of chopped rolling vocals. Oh, wait. Oh my god, you have it. Oh, it's the funny break, yeah! That's so funny. I'm very happy that that made it back in. I love the funny break. I actually use it a bunch. I only use it there on this album, but I remember it was either me or Nat added it, but again, there's just so many levels of this where it just ended up being lost. But yes, the Among Us snare alone getting used is hilarious. But this is where a bunch of the vocals get chopped. And I pitch them down per each track because I don't like automation. I'm just kind of anti-automation if I can like help it because I have enough CPU power for it. As you can see, I started chopping it really fast, just putting it over and over and over and over again to make this kind of like overwhelming noise. And that's what makes this sequence so full. And then we reach my favorite part where it's the crazy breakdown sequence. There's a lot to actually go through in that. Where it's, first of all, it's these are still rolling. I don't actually, are anything on these? A lot of times I do a lot of cuts and then they end up having nothing in them. Okay, let's see. Let me find the shit where there's actually noise. Here, okay. So the hypersaw and the vocals. That's kind of just self-explanatory. It cuts each bar. But then the kick is there, and then this Rhythm Classic is bounced out. And it sounds kind of gross on its own. But that's kind of what adds to the kind of swinginess of the sequence. Most of these sounds are from either Heaven Sense or a couple like secret sounds that I can't even that are like given to me from friends. There's the more Kismet one, and then there's a bunch of these down here. Another perfect to the core snare is in here, and then there's these Umru stomps that hit every single. They alternate. And this is just a demonstration of like doing like the keeping things in between every single pause because it's like a breakdown and I just love having cuts. So I would go and make the whole section. I would cut up all of these chops right here. Like I would cut each. Oh my God, I almost pointed at the screen. I'd keep all of these sections and cut them, and then I would fill them with as much stuff as I possibly could. And even if it wasn't good, I would just move them around, kind of like Legos, until it finally worked. And then at the end, I just started looping stuff over and over and over and over again until it finally hits the end, and I just put a little glass sound. That is the end of that song. And I don't remember what this is at all. Let's listen to it. It's probably awful. That was just an old build-up that got cut. But that is the general build of I Spy. The ending sequence here is like what got made later. Because it was originally going to end with mostly this, and it was just a little shorter, and I was just kind of uninterested in why it was like so short. It didn't have enough narrative element to it. And I think the song is a good example of like very few lyrics, but the narrative element is being told through the musical structure, where it kind of gets more and more and more intense. But that is the general gist of that song. And it is question time before I move on to the next song. Next song is Closer, which is one of my favorites, so that's going to be fun. I don't 100% remember how I got in contact with Nat. It was definitely just some Twitter interaction that just ended up leading to some kind of link up. Wait, is Patrick here? I don't have a fun story for meeting that, unfortunately. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but we ended up just calling about stuff, and she checked my was at the ReCodePop 1 release party and was like, "This is epic," and I was like, "We should work together on Rico 2," and she was like, "Yeah," and then that's kind of how it ended up happening. Patrick, if there's any sound design you want to show off for this song, I could put you on as well. It's just I have only the stems that have been chopped up into oblivion. It's up to you. Let me find the original file. There's like an older file. Take your time. I have to look for the original project file for Closer as well. But Closer is really awesome because it's one of the songs that I mean, working with Patrick and working with Outer Cosm has been epic because they're two people that I haven't really worked with before, and it was a very interesting process to generate like a very emotional song with two people I didn't know. So I found that to be very fun, and this was a song that was another cut from one from the original album. It was just the guitar and the vocals, and I didn't have any of the other elements to it. It was just that and like some drum going on it. But I just couldn't find a place for it in the original album, and now I like pulled it back out and was like, wait, there has to be a way to actually extend this. This is another song that is very difficult to actually go through because it is a huge collection of samples from Outer Cosm and Patrick, and I won't even like lie about how much work I did. The only work I did was like the drum work at the original beginning, and the vocals and the guitar, like the main melody, and like obviously the structure of the song. But the song was a huge collaboration, so like a lot of the guitar work, like the electric guitar work and the synth and drum work, was from Outer Cosm, and a huge chunk of the ending synth work is Patrick. And I think it's interesting to have a song that's like, I feel truly that I didn't do most of the production on. It's kind of like yep, thanks, Issa. That is a like collaboration right down the middle instead of like me like taking the reins on every single aspect of it. It was a lot of like trial and error with the song. So I will go through it now. The guitar. Oh shit, it's loud. That is my real guitar, the Yamaha. I played a very slow melody and then sped it up. I'm not a very good guitarist. I tried my best, but I definitely am good enough to do loops and things like that. And this is a real bass. I have a bass. I don't use it very often, but okay, cool, Pat. We'll go over it in a bit. I'll pull you up for the sound design. No, that's fine. You saw my file. This is one of those songs that sounds like there's a lot of effects, but it's kind of just this pitch up makes it sound like it.
Oh no, loading screens and blurry
I just sang it.
faces, let go, dirty socks and metal braces. Oh no, all my friends are getting older. Oh no, miss the days when we were closer.
I used the Logic for the tone editing because I didn't want to use a ton of auto-tune on it because it sounds much more natural in this song.
Miss the days when we were closer.
And then this good piano sounds a little different than the rest of the piano on the album because this is a lot of outer cosm. Oh wait, me turning the volume down messed it up a little. The drums is another sequence of trendy fills that have been timed along with this disco hi-hat for the Logic disco hi-hat, and they're all been timed together using the Logic effect. Let me see if I can see it. Come on. Yeah, there's like the rhythmic edits. There's a kick and a snare going on top of it. Very similar to just like use system of drum editing. There's just 808 that just runs through the entire song. And these are all together on a track with OTT on it. This is Outer Cosm's beautiful guitar work that I really can't even explain. It's just gorgeous. I wish they were here to explain it because I truly don't know how they did it. Another sequence of Outer Cosm breaks that kind of, they were going to be a lot longer and more elaborate in the song, but I only kept them for this sequence of the transition, and then I have them fade out. And now we've reached Patrick's sequence, which is incredible, and this is where a lot of my knowledge starts to leave, because this is a huge collection of Patrick's synthesis that I've re-chopped up to be in specific sequences, and I have moved it into, you can see I've spaced and sliced everything up into oblivion. But Patrick was the one who did the true synthesis here, and I think it's incredible, and we will go over through it.
Oh no.
Which I love this sound so much.
On my way home, I guess I just forgot your face. It's been so long.
On Patrick's, I put some noise gate compressor and a little bit of pitch to tone it.
I know you went our separate ways, but I think about you sometimes, only when it's late at night and I'm wide awake. How I got to where I am, even where it all began. Thought about it a lot, it's just a bit too much to comprehend. Summer comes and goes again, emotions blown off by the wind. I shouldn't worry too much, 'cause none of it's gonna matter.
It's just so good. There's so little I could say about it. It's just so gorgeous. There's like the B for 808 that's going through the entire thing. And then I've moved Outer Cosmos piano sequence to here.
Summer comes and goes again, emotions blown off by the wind. I shouldn't worry too much.
This is another sequence of the drums from before. I will show the chops and everything, but it's so much of just muscle memory chops, and then this is where I'll pull Patrick on to go through it. This is where my a battery kick comes back in, and then the beeper comes back because I wanted it to kind of go into double speed. I love this sound. I kind of Patrick's. I loop it so it kind of drives the song. And then the outer cause and breaks come back as a build up. And then it ends with that. But I would like to have Patrick on if I can find a way to Patrick unmuted. Patrick, are you able to unmute yourself now? Yeah. Okay. Wait. Can you talk for? You're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Get this to work. Oh, okay. You can go into settings and turn off the push to talk. I don't know why it would be on. That's weird. Maybe it's because the chat has weird permissions or something. But yeah, do quick question time if anyone has questions for me, which is I have limited knowledge of certain synthesis elements of the song. But we will get Patrick to come undo.
Is this working now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Nice.
Thank you for coming and talking about it because I personally haven't actually seen you do the synthesis for it.
Of course.
Oh yeah, Pat, can you put the stream on 30 FPS just so everyone can read stuff?
Yeah, do I do that in my settings?
It's you click on your stream and you click options and you change the.
Oh god, I feel like a boomer. What am I?
I can't. I don't know how to explain it from here. I wish I could do it remotely. If you can't figure it out, don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm gonna switch it to my other monitor because it's probably all.
Okay.
Okay. Where should I start? I haven't opened this in so long. I'm just gonna start from the top.
Okay, because you did so much synthesis work, so I would love to see where it all came from.
Yeah, a lot of this is bounced to. Okay, that's just the normal guitars. Muted. That's all muted. This is just a big snare stack, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably all Tracey drums.
Mm-hmm.
Big kick. What's this? These are probably I don't know where that came from.
It's funny because there's a lot of. I like that sample a lot.
Where is this from? I did do a lot of synthesis, but there are a bunch of samples here too.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's go over the synths. That's not in there. Okay. Let's see if Vital cooperates. It might get stuck on one instance of Vital.
That's totally fine.
I made, I think, a majority of these from scratch. A lot of this is just 2 waves FM to each other with LFOs on it. So we got that one. I'm just gonna stack them as I go.
I'm so bad at Vital that I don't. It's funny because I start to not understand how like the Vital synths actually get to that point.
I started on this instead of like Serum, so I got really used to it. I'm not sure why it's not letting me stack solos. Hold on, I'm holding caps lock for push to talk as well. There we go. Okay, now it's working. So I think this is the main stack I started with. And then what I do a lot with Vital is I'll just turn a bunch of knobs until I get perk sounds. Or this is probably made with delay.
Hi Tracey, we're watching Patrick explain their part of Closer.
And this is the piano granulated.
Which is incredible. I always think that's one of the most interesting parts of the entire thing.
I wish I had the granulator instance, but I probably either deleted it or it's completely...
It's frustrating because Logic doesn't have any kind of granulator like that, so whenever I get a sample back that's been granulated in Ableton, I'm like, how the fuck?
Yeah, I'm so bad at like knowing how it actually works. I just kind of turn knobs with that. I'm pretty good with like additive synthesis at this, or subtractive, I mean, synthesis, but granulation still confuses me. This is just a sample with so many effects on it. Resonant filter, OTT, EQ. Same with that. That's muted. That's muted. There's a lot of stacks in here that I just took out. Like I had an orchestra section.
What?
But I took that out.
What? Oh man, that would have been funny if I got that in the demos.
This is more just bounces and stuff. A lot of this is probably made with what's it called? Digitalis as well, just for degrading. That's muted. God, this is such a mess.
It's okay, you saw my files.
Laser beam. Oh, I use pigments as well, less frequently because I'm not used to it, and it's kind of a scary looking plugin to me. But laser
something
beam
that I know nothing about.
More bounces.
I love that noise. Can you explain that synth?
This is... Did I make this? Looks like I did. This is just a really harmonic, heavy wavetable with some FM from a square wave, white noise. And then it's filtered a bunch and distorted a lot.
Cool. It's probably my favorite sequence of that end sequence. Oh, you're cutting out. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my caps lock key is kind of broken.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I have it bound to. But I'll do like rolls with 808s. Or this isn't even really an 808, but just synth bass to get these kind of more clicky sounds. We're probably pretty far in now. This is the guitar granulated.
I love that so much. I love that.
And then I probably did some transient. Yeah, I shortened the transient with the beats algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brass hit that's muted again.
You had so much brass in it, but you didn't send me.
I had a whole plan, but it just didn't work out.
Darn.
Pew. That's all that is. I think I sent this too. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
this is one of my favorite parts of it because it leads a lot of the sequence.
I think this one is a preset. Oh, maybe not. Okay, yeah, I guess I made that. I think this is just one of the growls. That shifted up a bunch. Yeah. Okay, that's my vocals. I think that's it. Yeah, that should be it. So I'm just gonna play it all together now.
Okay, cool. But thank you so much for coming on and showing it all because I hadn't even seen it yet, so this is super cool to see.
Of course, I'm happy to be on here.
It's so cool.
All right, that's it.
Thank you so much for coming on, Patrick.
No problem. If anyone has questions, you could just ask me in the text chat and I'll answer them.
Yeah, if you have any questions, do it quick because I'm going to move on to Decibel. So please ask Patrick questions. I would love to know more as we. I'll definitely like DM you and try to learn more about what you did because it's so crazy.
Yeah, feel free.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Question time before we go to Decibel, which I do have the original files for, so we can go over exactly how that was made and then how Spencer completely rewrote it, and it was super cool because that's the backstory behind that song. Decibel is actually super crazy because this was a moment in which, like, most of the stuff was like recorded remotely, but Decibel was a moment in which Spencer was actually like present. Like, we recorded it at my old apartment, and it seemed like it was funny because like Spencer was like, I don't work in Logic, but Spencer decided to work in Logic anyway for this track, and that's why it has a lot of very interesting notes and synthesis in it. And then eventually it was reprocessed through Ableton, and that's why it's a little bit more intense than this version. You'll see it'll be interesting. You'll see this is the version that was originally going to be on the cut, and then there is a remix version. So it starts with this key melody, which I didn't use any kind of a special thing for. I straight up just played it. I do not know how. I cannot explain it to you. And then this, which I love. I think it's like a bass sub that has been pitched up super high. Yeah, it's a sub that I've decided to play high because it makes it sound really crunchy. It is a bunch of Tracey kit material. More Reason Rack. This is actually the Reason Rack Europa synth, which I don't use very often because it's a little bit complicated, and I don't like its interface. But it makes lots of really nice ambient kind of sounds. Most of it is based on like a polysynth kind of pad things and bells and whistles and things like that. And then the main lead that's going through it is a steering preset of the gritter. Again, as I explained way before, I love the gritter effect with OTT Nani, which I'm not opening, auto filter, and channel EQ. And this is super cool because, no, I'm not opening Nani. No. But stop it. But it has. This was super cool because I had already done this, but then Spencer started working on all of the automation for each sequence, so it ended up being really. There's a lot of cutoff that moves up and down and frequency that jumps around. And I think it adds so much to it that it's just so cool. But it also does the thing where you can do it manually. Logic has like a touch menu, and you can do it. You can play the track, and as it's going, it records all of your inputs. So that's how we did that. This is a pluck from the regular plucks of Serum. It's like one of the regular standard presets. I'm going to kind of rush through this track because it's so funny that this is like the old version of it, and you'll see how different it is to the other version. I'll go through the vocals later. This is straight up just a kick. There's nothing special to it. And it's funny because a lot of the... It's another song that feels complicated, but it's just leads repeating over and over again. Regular sub. This is my favorite part of it. This is how it originally was, without all the flips and filters and effects. Which was surprisingly stripped back in comparison to the final cut. The main note that's going on is these umru basses that are going through OTT. And this one goes, it has a little like pitch bend, which makes it feel like kind of like a race car, which I always loved. And this is a growl from just a sample. I don't remember exactly where I got it from. That's like the primary sequence for that, which drives the it's the main. It acts both like a slap bass as well as like an actual kick, which I find so interesting. This is another instance of the Reason choir, but I start cutting it really tightly. Which I always find to be interesting because I do it a couple times on the album. Main lead is the same as it was, and that is the general gist of that sequence. There's not a lot to that. This is the first instance on the album where I use the shitty Logic acoustic guitar, which I adore. It is just the sampler guitar with nothing on it. It is literally just the sampler guitar. It is terrible. But for some reason, it works. This is another instance of Reason rack within Spire. It's the Hyper Dream preset that nothing really is going on with it. I don't even think I put an effect on it. It just has OTT. That's it. And then more of a choir. It is Mercury this time. is I'm actually extremely proud of this part because it's another sequence of I have no idea how to play an instrument, but I wrote it and I like it. It was just kind of like just play around until it worked. And it was a really quick work session with Spencer. So I was like, hey, Spencer, just give me a second. I'm going to work on it. And they're like, okay. And they're like on their phone. And I was just like, and I was like, oh, okay, it's done. And they're like, what? So it was one of those like inspiration hits moments, and then something comes out and then it's just done. Obviously, like someone could probably explain the theory away in that way better than me. But I am not aware of what the theory things I did were. And then this is the same effect again with a space delay on it. Someone's asking the name of the pad. It's the Hyperdream AL and RS in the Spire synth. And this is the opposite moment of Spencer being like, "Hey, just give me a minute. I have an idea." And then they just wrote this. I don't know how they did it. They just were like, "Hey, give me a sec," and then they just penciled this in. But it's just cool that the gritter, you can make it very aggressive, or you could like change the poly and mono sequences of it, so it ends up just being really, really tight and really, really crunchy. So that I love this part because I was like insistent on having this little piano sequence that goes really like intensely down. I don't know why. I was just very into it. But another sequence of a choir being chopped up multiple times. Kick anal. I don't know why it says that. But just a very repeating kick. These silly gunshot noises that occur throughout the entire song. And it's exactly the same sequence as before, just a couple added sounds. But I'm going to go through the updated file, which Spencer had some time to work on in Ableton later, which I think is a lot more indicative of what the final song was. So this is the final version of it, which is like it's hilarious that it's so stripped back. I think, wait, is this it? No, this is the wrong version. I'm so sorry. There's even more new version. We're back. This is the final mix of it that Spencer sent back after a little bit of time of working with it. This version has a lot more going on. It's a lot more extra synthesis and noise effects. So Spencer added this like undertone little like that's definitely filtered through some kind of I actually have no idea what they but I love that it turns into this like rising synth. They kind of bundled them all together, so I can't even dissect them. But this should be 30. Yeah, it should be 30. It starts. Generally, the bass is exactly the same, but there's a little bit more jumpy to it. Like it has these little moments. Spencer definitely went into the nitty gritty, and the kick does a couple more things like that. There's this new synth that was added. another instance of me wishing I could show you more about it, but I don't have actually the original synthesis. And there's this clap sequence that goes on for a while, and I think originally we debated whether we were going to keep it on for an extended period of time, but I liked it through the entire part. Thanks for coming out, Patrick. So what the best part of what Spencer did is that it has this like little we do this on Something to Wait For too, where there's this little build up that leads right into the note. Which just adds so much energy to something that already might be loud or intense. It just feels like you're being like whipped with it. It's like, wow. Which is just so cool. And this is the kind of like the ultimate love song about, like the love song to the Recode trend of having the weird pauses in random places. It has these little cuts that just end just right in the middle. I love the guitar notes. The acoustic stayed, which I very much enjoy, that in the final cut we managed to keep it in. And the synth is still here as well. This part I kind of insisted it stayed pretty similar. And this part's very similar, except there's a new sound that goes throughout most of it. So cool. I just love that how all of these connect to each other, because it just they all fill in these little gaps that the other ones have and create this very like elaborate soundscape that's sitting underneath the entire thing. And it has the exact same ideology that continues, where it's like, here's an extremely complicated selection of melodies and then a pause, 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 which I just think is so interesting. I'm just glad that it really exists throughout this entire thing. And then I will finally go through the Frax vocals, because again, this has a lot of the similar mixing traits that the other ones had. It had an OTT, it had a compressor and some general EQ, not much anything else. Frax has their own auto-tune that they use. So when we did it, we recorded this twice, once in Boston and once in parts of it in Chicago. And Frax uses, I think, Waves Tune exclusively. So Frax will use Waves Tune in Ableton and then export them out to my Logic, and then we'll go through it. But in the end final, there's a bunch of ad limiter on it, so it gets really loud. And there's definitely a I think a low level space delay and a tape delay on it. You knew me as a rock, hiding the diamond in the rough. We used to wake up in the same house, now these walls are you. The worst part is I could
see you tomorrow if I want to.
Which I think is incredible because Frax is a brilliant vocalist, and there's very little that I even had to do. Like, I didn't have to do any tuning or like anything. It was just kind of like done. So I was very happy with working with these sequences because they were just so, it just worked.
I wanted to sing, but I like to.
And then the decibel sequence where it just says decibel is just like so catchy. The sequence here near the end is one of the sequences that has a special effect on it. I think this was there's an effect that Spencer put on. I wasn't sure what it was. It was some kind of spreader.
Remember when we crashed the gallery, snuck in your classes, and I said that we would always be your friends for life, and you believed it always. Then things changed because of something I heard. But what is something you said? I'm always waiting for it to break before I make my moment.
FX Gun is just so funny to me. It's like a Call of Duty video. And then it just fades out, which is basically the gist of that song. It's not even a lot to it. It's funny because like there's a lot done on my side and a lot done on Spencer's side, and then it just came together and was done. This was one of the last songs that actually got worked on, and I am so glad that Spencer did a rework. And then that I'll take any questions for that song before we get to Waltz, which I might pull Tracey on for. If Tracey here right now? Yeah, I'm gonna pull you on for Waltz if you want to talk about it. But I'm going to open Waltz, and I have a bunch of versions of it. So I'm going to try to find the really old version that's just called Walls. That has the old other version in it. It has like a electronic sequence. So it's a very different song. But
To be honest, I have like a bunch of like 3-4 project files floating around now after messing with this song.
Wow. Copycat. Wow.
I'm sorry. I didn't do anything because I was like, I would make them and then I would be like, no, this is Riri just.
No, you can do that. It's fine. I don't have a copyright on 3-4.
Yes, you do.
Also, it wasn't me. It was like the origin of the 3-4. Actually, no, it was me. Trendy made it really 3-4. It was already 3-4, but I had it in like this really weird way that was like very spread out. And then Trendy was like, "We're gonna make this shorter," and like 1 2 3 1 2 3. And I was like, "Oh, now it's actual waltz instead of just what the fuck was that?"
It was me turning my mic all the way up because apparently. Hang on, let me set the. Is this better, or is this too loud now? I feel like this is like I'm very much so peaking my interface.
I mean, it's fine for me.
Okay, well, okay, if this is good for you guys. I switched it from line to instrument, so we should be good. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. I have the original version of Waltz here, which, if people remember the Angels Tour promo, this is the version in that. But I will just play this version because it's a little bit, it's interesting. I don't have the old version that used to have this really weird piano arpeggio, but this is the version that I did with Trendy, and then I did the synths, and then I was like, I hate this version.
I can't get out of bed, I'm sore and blue. My feet off the ground, when will my body come through? I'm stuck to the cotton and burned to the sheets. When will good things happen to me? I can't get out of bed, I'm sore and blue. My feet off the ground, when will my body come through? I'm stuck to the cotton, I'm deep in
That's the version that got cut because it just bored me. I just got bored. Like it was cool, but it was like I have no idea where that was gonna go. So I'm not even gonna go through that much of it. It was just kind of like a bunch of that I already went over earlier. I don't know if you were here for it, where I was like using the dishwasher effect.
Yeah.
Sounds. Yeah, it's gross. But this is where the original the original stuff with Trendy came from, where Trendy did this bass and this synth, which I am eternally grateful for because it is so good. It was basically the same key and like kind of like tone, but it was a little bit more like angelic, and then they pulled it down into this very creepy atmosphere with this kind of repeating note. And then from that point on, it was, I think I sent you the stems.
Yeah.
And then we... You're quiet again.
I'm quiet again. Hang on, let me shove the microphone down my throat. Is this better?
Yeah.
Oh my freaking god. Anyways. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, at that point, I think I sent you the stems, then you worked on it, and then I did the stuff with Dinah, like the guitar stuff separately.
That I do remember.
Do you have the file for it that you did the synths on, or no?
Yeah, no, I have it. Actually, I just pulled it up, so.
I'm gonna join and watch you, see if I can see your stream. Where's your stream?
Starting it right.
Okay. Watching Tracey's stream for a sec.
Does everybody see it? Everybody
Yeah, I see it.
wants to see it here. Alright. Go for it. So basically, yeah, no. Yeah, I basically just had the bass synth and the vocal. And it was kind of dumb luck that I ended up being on this song because I was in like some other VC and I randomly popped into a VC where I saw Riri and B in, and I was like, I'm gonna go bother them, and I did, and now I'm here, which was awesome.
It was a stroke of luck like that.
It really was, and then I was kind of just like, I was a little confused about where to go direction-wise because it, like, honestly, like, especially this sound, like.
Wait, Tracey, people are telling you to be louder again.
Okay, all the way up on the interface. We're just gonna leave it there.
Okay.
Okay. So I was a little confused directionally where to go with it first because I really did like just the synth wonk that Trendy made is just a very intriguing sound, and the whole thing was really just like it felt like almost like dramatic in like a in like an old school like 1930s, and I struggled to find the sort of music that I'm thinking of in comparison, but it's very dark and very like brooding.
Well, it's like Baroque.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. So like I think the first thing I probably did, which I don't even know if these made it into the final, but is these like little background vocals.
Yeah, they're definitely in it. They're just hidden throughout. They come up. They become more apparent near the end with the rock sequence.
Right. Yeah. No, it was something that like I liked the idea of it, and I did it, and I was like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, no, I did kind of lean into the Baroque, especially in this part, because I added like these like. Let me see if I have. Yeah. Okay. So this is just like I think an operator patch and sim plant. Oh, I can't hear it. Hang on. Oh, it's because that. Nice little operator patch. And then synth plant. I love this goddamn synthesizer. It's so silly. But it has these really nice like sort of faux string sounds in them that I really like.
It sounds like you're like pulling a bow across a harp.
Yeah, no, it's great. It sounds so like if I take this patch and I like play it down low because it's supposed to be like a cello. Definitely sounds a little more like one, but I was playing it so high up that it just became like this really silly, dinky kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And so I left that because I thought that was kind of cool. And then what is this? Oh, I made like this one really just like gross talk boxy sounding lead. I wish I still had the initial patch.
I don't think that made it in, but that was cool.
Oh yeah, it's just this like atmosphere. I definitely just kind of layered it within this like wall of noise.
Oh yeah.
Because the original lead sounded kind of cool, but also sounded kind of goofy, so I think I just kind of like froze it, and I used this Max for Live device, spectral blur, like all the time, just because it's really good for making these really like shimmery, spacey sounds. The weird vocal sample, stretch vocal sample at the beginning of Dust Rigs is just all spectral blur, basically. And then I took the vocals and kind of made like a little. I was kind of thinking of Surrender a little bit when I did this. I was like, wow, let me do the funny loopy. I feel really weird, and then I did. So it kind of just sits there in the background. And now we get into the really goofy stuff. What is this? Oh, this is just spectral blur again, but on this synth. And I think I took the vocal at one point. The main vocal, and I just threw it in granulator and kind of messed with it. Nothing super crazy in terms of like effects here. Like it's just two LFOs on the like positioning and the grain size, and then like a vocoder, just classic Ableton stuff.
Classic.
I think this one is probably my favorite sound for it, which is like the big bass sound.
Yeah, so please dissect that because I adore this sound.
I very much will. I might need to restart stream if you guys want to see the actual like serum patch itself. Actually, can I change window?
You should be able to, because Patrick was. I just don't know how.
Let me see. Babadaboo doo doo doo. Stop streaming. Change windows. Aha! And now you guys will see Discord, and now you guys will see Ableton. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, you just won't be able to hear it when I play it, but you guys already heard it, so that shouldn't be a problem. So something that I really like is in a lot of like old. I hesitate to say old because I feel like it's kind of a constant, but like the idea of like an LFO rate being like tied to a note itself, almost like how if you threw like a bass that like kind of warbles into a sampler, it'll slow down and speed up.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of use that here. The synthesis is pretty simple. Also, like it's just a sine wave and a saw wave, and then some FM, and then nice little filter there. I think it gets kind of funny in the effects. The phaser is there for some vocal quality. Same with this little like notch in the EQ. It's kind of helping with that vocal quality, and also because I have 0 square on it, which to the uninitiated is basically just like if you took a bit crusher and you turned the resolution like all the way down. So not necessarily like the bit crushing part of the sound, but like that distortion that just kind of blows it out. That is 0 square in Serum, and then I just kind of use the notch to kind of sweep through it. So it didn't just end up being a brick, basically. Some OCT, and then a little reverb filter. Yeah, okay, it's just kind of moving around, and it kind of, when you get lower into like the bottom half of the cutoff of things like the reverb or the comb filter, or just like the more complicated filters in Serum, they tend to like fuck with the pitch a little bit, and I kind of like that quality. And so I have this sort of like really slow LFO kind of moving the pitch around and kind of bringing the bass note of the bass down. So it kind of goes like wah, which is just cool.
It's crazy.
Then, what else do I have? I fucking no idea what this is doing. Let me see here. Oh yeah, this is just on the phaser again. Yeah, so not super intricate as far as like, sound design goes. It's basically just kind of like a bunch of little things that stack up to make the sound itself. And then OTT and saturator with a soft clip is a classic me combo. Because OTT will make a sound very tiny, and I don't want it to be tiny. So
exactly,
I fix it. Anyways, let me go back to my Ableton screen, and then I'll break down this final thing. Well, I mean, there's also this like little sweep. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's just a little riser I made.
Yeah.
And this is the really silly sound.
Oh, I love this song. This sound.
Creepy little lead.
So loud. I love it.
It's just really screechy and stuff. Yeah, so this sound was also a pretty simple one. It's basically I already changed the screen share, but basically like the concept is that if you FM 2 waves and you make the one... Oh, interesting. I did it a little backwards here. But in concept, basically, was that I had one oscillator. So the first oscillator is a saw wave pitched down like 4 octaves. And then the next one is oscillator B pitched up 1 octave. So there's like a 5-octave difference. And what's happening is that I'm FMing oscillator A with oscillator B a little bit. So you get this like pitch warbling because the waveform is so... One of the waveforms is so slow that you're hearing the individual cycles, because frequency modulation is just using the amplitude of one wave to modulate the pitch of another one in the shape of that amplitude. So when you just slow it down, you basically just get a wiggly LFO. And so I did that. I used a little bit more of that zero square distortion that I talked about earlier. Dimension expander, some EQ to kind of clean it up a little bit, some delay and reverb, and then some OTT. So a very simple sound, and then, I didn't have to do much after it came out of Serum. I just kind of left it how it was, and then drew in a silly little melody here. Oh,
it's just so great. It's just so perfect.
Melody. Thank you very much. And then, I have a little... Ooh, look! The return of our friend, Spectral Blur. Here she is. She is in tandem with a hard compressor. I'm kind of doing like a washout toward the end of this whole sequence. And that's what Spectral Blur is really good for. But yeah, so it sounds like a big mess of stuff, because it kind of is, but it's not a huge amount of...
Well, it's like a collage of different ideas and like sound design that kind of make it sound like you're in like a space, which I think is so cool about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted it to be sort of... I wanted the idea to feel like really... like there was a lot going on to an overwhelming degree, to the point like I wanted it to be like almost like a disturbingly beautiful mess. Was kind of the envisioning, where you're kind of scared of it, but you're kind of like, whoa, this is kind of cool.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like Bloodborne Eldritch monster.
Exactly. This is the Eldritch monster of walls of sound.
1 second.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so I have. Let me put my stream back up, because then I can jump right from where you were and cut to the Dyna stuff.
Oh,
so,
no.
What happened?
Oh, did you catch any of that flash? I apologize.
Wait, what happened?
I missed a notification, it seems, in the VC text.
When was that?
Flash memories.
Oh, no, we boosted your volume a while ago.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
But yeah, we're back to my stream.
Yes.
So I have the final file in which everything Tracey was explaining is here. But I just kind of remixed a little bit of it so it's not too extreme. It is almost exactly the same, just I added that little kick. That's still in there. I have the eerie lead, but it's quieter in mine. And I let it cut out in that little like boop, because it's almost feels like a TV or something got turned off. Like it feels something got cut. Right. And then this is the sequence in which I worked with Dinah for the rock stuff, because I had written the guitar work out on the guitar and recorded it, but my guitar work just is not nearly as clean as Dinah. So I asked Dinah to do a re-record of the guitar work, and they did that as well as add a couple of bonus sequences. So this guitar is the main lead guitar, which has overdrive, a noise gate, and an auto filter. And then it eventually has a little bit more overdrive. And I just cut it to be a little bit more choppy. And then there's one all the way left, one all the way right. And it was cool because Dinah did one high and one low. Kind of has these harmonics in it. And then underneath I did, is this the bass thing? Yeah, this was me doing actual bass work. Which is just bass amp, OTT, and noise gate. And I love that. I have no idea what Dinah did, but I love this. It's like two guitars kind of going at the same time in slight off key, and they're doing this like solo. For the drum work, it is the Stadium LE kit from Native Instruments Battery, but I have OTT and channel EQ on it, and a little bit of, I tweaked some of the actual effects in here, like the decay and sustain for certain drum things in it. But the Stadium LE kit is just so good. I have unfortunately, the Dorian Electric guitar stab bendy thing in here, but it's the only Dorian Electric sample I use because I just do not want to be using those. And then I just have an OTT over the entire thing, so it just becomes super crunched together. Hidden within it is there's some more vocals where the Soarin' Blue repeats. But I have a pedal board on it this time with the rock distortion from Logic on it. And I like how I use the flex pitch, but it kind of turned this into mush. But it just makes it sound so much cooler. And then it just ends like that, and it's just a finale. And I originally was like, is that going to be the end of the album? I wasn't sure. But I had one more song idea, and it was my favorite song on the album, and also the most personal song on the album. I will open it now, but very, very fast question time before we get to the last song. I was waiting for Issa to say question time. I always like the big question time. Very quick bullet time question time. You got like a minute question time. Go, 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 go. Could be about anything. It doesn't even have to be about the music. If there's no questions, that's totally fine. I will keep moving. Yes, waltz is in 3/4, as is a waltz. I didn't really have a better name for it, and I also thought the waltz was an interesting metaphor because there's a lot of play between Riri and her sisters, and I think that's interesting. They're like having a waltz of discussion and like a waltz of back and forth. There's this movement back and forth between these characters, and obviously we haven't seen a lot of information about them yet, but I think it'll start to make a little bit more sense as it goes. Orbing it, oh my god. I don't even know who that is. Oh, thank you, Fox. I'm going to move to the final song because it is very depressing, but also very simple. Fallout is, which is originally called Broken Chain, is one of those songs that it had no like 20 versions or anything like that. It was just me doing one version of the song because it kind of just came as a very extreme inspiration moment. I won't go into detail because I don't really want to go into detail anywhere about it. But Fallout is like definitely like a very serious personal song about an actual real life thing that is like completely detailed in the song. It's the only time I've ever done that, and probably will be the only time I'll ever do that. So it's just a very important track, and I think you can hear it in my vocals that I'm kind of having a hard time singing it. But I think it really is encapsulated by the fact that there's so few instruments here. It is another instance of the Cthulhu. It is Serum using a soft piano. It's from one of the Tracey Serum patches that Tracey gave me. I love the soft piano. It is so soft. Wait, let me play it again. It's just so cute. And it's just 3 notes pretty much. And then it mirrors it with the choir, which I think is another... No, it does it. It has a second sequence of it, but which choir is it? Yeah, it is one of the female soprano. Soft piano that's just doing one repeating note. There's a serum bass underneath it. It's just BS Deep from Liz Secret Serum Sauce. That is truly all it is until the final sequence. So I'll go over the vocals a little bit because they're more interesting to me. These are some of the vocals that have some of the most editing. They have a vocal transformer on them that makes them very high-pitched and weird. And then there's channel EQ that's very basic because I like having all of the tone in it because it's like a very raw song. And there's a noise gate, but it's kind of not doing that much because I want it to be, you can kind of hear breaths and things like that. OTT and a tape delay and auto-tune. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
What if I fall out the window?
But it's like there's even I think
What if
yeah, I just sang it normally.
I fall out the window on third?
I sang it really close to the mic with high gain.
Look for the concrete road. What if I
This is
fall
something that never got in the final cut.
out? This window on third. Pull the trigger lungs.
I like recording this song with that really, really high gain because all of the every syllable becomes very pronounced. Like it sounds like I'm singing like this with everything because it's just very. It feels like I'm extremely close to the microphone, which I am, but it also feels like I'm extremely close to whoever's listening to this song, like hearing it. And I kind of leave some of the plosives in.
Lungs are full. Choke on my collar. Broke the chain. Baby, I fall out.
And once we get to the end here, the end sequence where it transitions over because kind of the mood is going from sad to angry. There's a couple sounds from Bio Sample Pack. There's a sound alarm, the risey, noisy mess kind of stuff. And then there's an Umu rise effect that all kind of combine into one noise. And I love the little digital click that transitions out. This is almost the exact same. I think it is actually some of the same synth stuff from. Yeah, it's. I started with the same presets from Something to Wait For, the same kind of noise gate cutting in and out, but then I changed it a little bit with like use different chord materials. This is the same one from Something to Wait For. And the reason that this is so intense is because Something to Wait For does it too, but this does it way more. Where the noise gate is waiting way too long. It's like so, the ducker's so intense that it gives it almost like half a second of each kick. Like it's so intense that if there's a bunch of kicks in a row, it just completely turns off the synthesizer. So it has these weird pauses, and there's these couple little extra noises in between. I use a lot of 80s Scream things from this like little Scream pack that I found online. It was just like some free thing. And then the vocals here, I sing it again, but I turn the gain down and move away from the mic to do a more dramatic reading of it.
What if I fall out the window on third? Look for the concrete.
Oops. Shit.
Why can't I just fade away? You cast your shadow on
And my favorite thing is that I take all of the tape delay, everything off suddenly, so the last moment it completely stops with there's no delay that gets cut or anything. It's just done.
What if I fall out?
It's just like done. It cuts out really sharp, which has its own symbolism. So yeah, it just cuts like done, like song over. So that is how that song is built. There's really not a lot to it. I will do one more question time, and then I'm going to show you guys some fun little like songs that got cut and just like how they sound. And I'm not going to go through like their design. I just want to like play them for fun. And Tracey. And then if anyone has just like questions for, I don't know. Well, Ness is here if you want to ask questions about art stuff. If you're okay with that. And then Ryan's here for animation stuff. If anyone has questions for that, but oh, thanks, guys. Issa, I was going to play the demo for the track, but I wasn't going to play vocals. Yeah, I do. It was definitely inspired by the time and place cutoff. I will dig those songs up now because I will let people go on their way soon. I'm gonna pull up. There's only 2 songs that got cut. One of them is a song that I was doing with Issa, who's in chat. And it was, let me see if I don't remember exactly where I put it. Oh god, where's it? Oh man, where did I put it? I did open it earlier, so I got it. Which was kind of more of like a drum and bass thing. It just kind of never got in. It didn't have a space. It would have been a little too long of an album. But I'll just play it. It has like this kind of like bird effect and this like drum line going, and I just think it's really neat. I think eventually I'll probably release them for like bonus things. But this is the one of the bonus tracks.
You better bring it.
So that was like one of the, I really like this bonus song. It just didn't fit in the album. Like I couldn't find a place for it. I also, Issa's vocals were really, really cool. I just didn't get around a chance to properly mix them for this. But I probably will release it as like a separate thing one day. It's just super, super cool. I just like it. It just didn't have any spiritual meaning in comparison to the other songs on the album. And then the last song is, gotta figure out which version of it. Oh man, what is it called? I just saw it. One sec. It was a song with Unixia. Find the original version. Called Unix. Where's the original version of it? There it is. Okay. And it was another song that it was very interesting, but I couldn't figure out like what it meant in terms of like the narrative of the album. The album just like every single song has some narrative point, and this one was just like I was forcing it in, and I just didn't want to do that. So I will share the screen one last time, and this will be the last track I will show for tonight. And that was all that one was. It was really interesting. It was really cool. I just could not figure out where in the world I was going to go into the album. And that was all of the tracks from the album, completely dissected. So yeah. Thank y'all for being here and coming and listening and like asking questions and stuff. This was actually really, really fun. I hope y'all learned something and I actually taught it well instead of just like throwing random words and images at you guys. If there are any final questions for me or Ryan, animator, or Ness, artist, ask them now, because I think you're going to get a chance to ask them again anytime soon. Oh, I love the bears. Ness, we got questions for you. How long did the cover take?
Not that long. I think the first cover took longer. Maybe like 4 hours. I have to come up.
Yeah.
4 hours, damn.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Speed running, that shit.
Well, because for that one, I didn't go back and forth with you that much.
Yeah.
I just was like, here it is. And then in ReCodePop, the first one, we kept going back and forth about little shit like, oh, this shirt is too red. And so it like wasted so much
the first
time.
one, I did a lot of like color changes that Ness was very annoyed with. But the Disc 2, I kind of gave him more of the reins, and I think the only thing that we disagreed on was like the positioning of stuff, and then it was like you were right all along, and we just went with your original idea.
Yeah, exactly.
What art program do you use? Procreate. Oh, Ness is not Nez. They're two different people. It's Ness with two S's. Nez is another person in chat. People are asking where to see your art.
Oh no.
I'm telling you, you gotta start posting it. You can follow Ness's Twitter.
I don't post art though.
I know, but maybe you will. Do you want me to just share it or no?
Yeah, you can. I don't care. But all I do is right now I'm gonna retweet that Grub one. Hopefully, it's Splatoon.
This is Ness's.
Not art.
This is Ness's page that eventually he will be posting art. Everyone's saying you should post.
Okay. I might.
You have art that you could be posting.
I don't know, maybe.
Any more art questions? Hatsune Miku.
It's so true.
Any questions for Ryan, animator over here?
After this, I'm deleting my Discord. I'm throwing my phone out.
After this, Ryan's not animating anymore.
Ness did draw a Switchblade cover.
I did.
Ryan, what is your favorite Hatsune Miku?
The Among Us one.
What? Is there an Among Us one?
I don't know. How could there not be?
Ryan is also like a both an animator and a fine and illustrative artist, and you can follow Ryan as well. Let me find your Twitter, Ryan. Ryan Twitter. That's Ryan Twitter.
Wahoo.
Yeah.
This is what Ness and I do it for. Is the Discord ask?
Yeah. I have a question.
You have a question for me?
Yeah.
Yes, what is it?
Were you sadder for this one or the last one?
What do you mean sadder?
You know what I mean.
Like emotionally sad at the end of the album? Or like working on it? Or you mean working on it?
Like, no, after you finish an album, you're like...
Super sad.
You're like, okay, now.
Oh, this one for
this
sure. Oh, man, I was so sad at the end of this one. Well, because we were moving and everything, so everything felt super weird. And it was like, I had to like I finished the album and then tore down the studio that I made it in, you know? So it was just very depressing. I was just like, oh man, I wrote Fallout last. And I was like, oh, I'm so depressed.
You did?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, time to take everything apart. And then it was just like, oh man. Oh, someone's recognizing you as Wine19. They didn't know you were the same person.
Yes, that's true.
DJ Wine19.
Yeah, same person.
Famous DJ has DJ'd across the globe.
Yeah, I'm Wyatt from Lay Snake.
And Wine from Lay Snake. Yep.
True,
Yep, there's like Ryan's everywhere. But I think that's a wrap, gang. So, Vampire Baby, we were just talking about that.
Vampire Baby.
You may see that in October. Maybe not.
Yeah, and if not, that's just normal Lay Snake.
Yeah, Lay Snake is we'll see.
Tracey's a real one.
Yeah, Tracey knows. Tracey's a real snakerhead.
Yeah, actually.
Snakerhead?
Yeah, that's what Ben calls us. Or calls us for us. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the road, gang. I will talk to you and we will figure out the final cut of it and everything. Love you guys. Thank you all for coming. This was super fun. Bye.